Nos vemos en un ratito. We can set our group in Spanish. I want to start with this little quote. Nope, not that one. This one. To heal is to touch with love that which we previously touched with fear. Today's it's not a series that I want to share with you. This is actually was born birth talking to uh or board talking to John and talking to Alyssa. I shared with them. I'm feeling a little bit, not a little bit. I feel overwhelmed, and I was sharing this week part of our journey and where we were at. And it was really cool getting their support, their point of view on things. But I think if you're like me, a lot of what I'm going to share with you is not something that I am on the other side of it. I will share with you kind of very present and what I'm going through. Hopefully resonates with you and even can support you and encourage you as well. But I think if you're like me, you want growth. We all want growth. We want to learn the lesson. We want to overcome the struggle. Um, we we want to be fully mature, right? We have this idea or desire to self-improvement, self-development. And I sometimes forget that any part of growth comes with disruptions or with ruptions. Every time that you and I think about anything that can lead us to something new, either comes with some kind of a boundary, some kind of a test, some kind of a moment of expansion for you and for me. And there's this tension between wanting to overcome, right? And also enduring that moment of friction, moment of tension. So my hope is to explore this as a community and also for us to think that there's an element of sharing and also an element of personal growth that can happen when we talk about these moments of disruptions. Now, when you hear me say the word rupture or disruption, I'm talking about it could be in a relationship with God and it could be in a relationship with others or an outcome or a circumstance that we're going through. But part of our human experience is that you and I will see um, moments of difficulty, disruption, and um, I think I want almost call this confessions of a pastor, confessions of your pastor, because this is something I'm going through right now with Tiffany. Actually, we share with you and our prayer groups that we got good results of the last testing that she did. We can for now, know that it's not cancer. For now, we're taking that out of things that we are going through. But at the same time, even though it's a good week, I gotta tell you, because we're learning new things to live at home with now, different hours of working for Tiffany, what that looks like for me, either more hours at the retreat or making all those decisions come with a lot of friction between me and Tiffany. And these are the confessions of us to you guys, the frictions that come in this season. Because I want us to know that if you are part of our community for a long time, you have heard me say this in one way or another. The desire of Jesus to come to this earth, what God longs for, the invitation that you and I have is not just to believe in a faith or believe in a worldview. The invitation that you and I have is for you and I to become repairers of ruptures. That's the name of the game. If you think of the Sermon on the Mount, if you think of anything that God invites us to, and I will share with you, it is we see tension with a character, we see a testing period, we see ruptures, we see relationships being fractured. And the whole story is the story of reparation, or we call it reconciliation, restoring harmonious relationships. So, in a nutshell, for us, the reason why we connect every Sunday and the reason why we talk before the message and we talk after is because we believe in the kingdom of God. We're all about healing the disruptions around us. And it begins in our home, right? And it expands to our work spaces, to our own relationship with God, to every area around us. And why is this so important? Why is this the key more than just doing a sinner's prayers, for example, or more than other things? Why is this so key? It's because what we see around us, or what I see around us in a world that needs what? It needs reparation. We see ruptures happening all around us. So for you and me as agents of repairs, we can, again, not that I'm doing that well, because I did not do that well this week. But if that's what we aim at, for us agents of reparations, we shouldn't be surprised that this is what Jesus invites us. This is what God longs the most. In John 16:33, we read, "In this world you will see ruptures." That's the word. You will see trouble. You will see friction. You will see difficulties. You will see tribulation. And this is not talking about the end times. Sometimes we read this whole passage a lot in thinking persecution of Christianity. It's not talking about that because literally Jesus, the verse before says, a lot of you will deny me. And he's literally talking to the disciples who are going to be, the moment he's arrested, and like, I don't know this guy. And it's this invitation that he says, the verse says, I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world, you will have ruptures, troubles. But take heart, I have overcome the world. I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world, we're going to see disruptions. But take heart, I have overcome the world. And that I have overcome the world is given us in these moments of tension and friction, it gives us a different framework of not just this world, but the world to come. And I don't mean heaven, like just like the place where everything is perfect. I mean heaven, the place, this heaven on earth idea, eternity, where you and I can live telling the truth, being honest, being authentic, without the idea of shame, remorse, guilt. So imagine the type of conversations we'll have and the type of reparation that will exist, almost like we're practicing right now, this idea of restoring for the world to come. So today, part of what I'm learning and cleaning on right now is this idea that during moments of rupture, because we talk about here that the concept of reconciliation and healing conversations is not new, but the framework I want us to have is that in the moment that we are moving towards that, towards the reconciliation, you and I build resilience. What I mean by resilience, the way I'm going to define it just is our capacity to withstand distress durably, our capacity to emotionally regulate, the capacity of physically recover every situation that you and I where there's friction or rupture. There's a moment that we can see that space for capacity of growth. We know this, when you work a muscle, right? You literally break the muscle apart. There's friction, there's a rupture, and we know that the moment that that muscle begins to rebuild, it begins to repair, and that muscle is able to withstand, has now the capacity for that same distress. Now, now it helps you next time you encounter that, and that's the idea of resilience. Now, let's take that to every conversation that you and I have, or every rupture that you and I create. That's a space for us to also repair and build capacity. And this is not just necessarily to tolerate something, because I see myself checking out in difficult moments. I just want to tolerate what's happening. This is actually an experience of encountering the stress or facing the stress, and my response not be A, pretending it doesn't exist, or B, succumbing only to, you know, it is what it is, but actually seeing it as a potential that in this moment, I have the capacity and I'm being repaired to withstand the difficulty, the stress. And that is resilient, is to develop having stress load go through something that gives us more capacity. And sometimes spiritually we understand that, but emotionally it's difficult to know that when I create a tension with my spouse, in this case, that is the moment right there where repair, as I build the reparation or start moving towards it, that is the moment where God wants to create something in me. Because it's extremely hard to ask God in that moment, what capacity am I expanding right now? It's not natural. But yet it shouldn't be surprising because we're agents. We're invited to be agents of reparation. Um, I I share with our board that I was having a hard week, and that I felt I actually told him I don't feel with I said I don't feel with the capacity even to lead you or lead. I feel like I'm not leading anything. I told him right now, like I was in a meeting with him, and I told him it's almost like I cannot think right now of many months from now. And part of it I share is like the decisions that I'm making with Tiffany is hard for me to think what how is she's gonna feel, 2 weeks from now. And one of the things I love that they share with me, one is it is understandable at this moment, maybe uh, uh, all of them actually love basketball, and analogies of basketball happen in our meetings a lot. So John goes, it's time for us to dribble the ball. And then he make a point that it was intentionally using a basketball because Alyssa, and even Daniel also like we play basketball together. But there's this idea of community. There's moments where when I cannot dribble the ball, part of developing resilience is letting others dribble the ball. And that is not a moment of me um, necessarily controlling something or even a moment for me to question like identity or anything because that has nothing to do with your identity. It has to do with exactly the season that you're living right now and as you voice what's going on, it's an opportunity for those running with you in this journey, our community, to say, hey, this is something we can share. And you can do this here, but also you may be leading a team. You may lead your family. And I think just because um you're you can be a great leader, you could be a great communicator, it doesn't mean that there's not gonna be moments of rupture. Every time we experience, because we're humans, any type of communication with another human being, ruptures will happen. In fact, one of the we connected with Daniel and Jeanette as Tiffany started this, and one of the things that they told us that it was extremely helpful. We were doing really good, and we need to get back to it. Is that Tiffany every morning kind of gave me a number of how she was feeling energy wise, and throughout the day she checked in and say, "Hey, I'm doing really good right now," or "I'm not doing really good." And that was very helpful because in a way it was naming in advance, things that she was experiencing. And in moments of rupture, moments of conversation, moments of close quarters when you're either working with someone or going to a family trip or whatever, I think this is something that I want to be better at, which is naming things in advance. Hey, we're about to experience this. Let's expect it. There's going to be ruptures, but we are agents of reparation. The rupture is going to come, but these are moments to build resilience to expand. And we do this, and maybe I did not, my parents didn't practice this on me. I start practicing this with my kids. At first, I thought it was a little silly, but now I can totally see because of this idea why it's important. Many times, my kids are in a playground or playing with some friends, or we're in someone's house, and we go and tell them, "Hey, 5 minutes, 5 minute warning. We're gonna leave in 5 minutes." And without knowing what we're doing in the nervous systems in their bodies when we're doing them is preparing them. We're naming the rupture. We're creating the space of something that is gonna happen because they're gonna be like, no, I want to play more. I want to stay longer. But even just by giving them that advice, or not advice, but that giving that information, what is happening in their brain is actually will calm their nervous system because they're gonna prepare. And in a very, very simple way, they're thickening their capacity of expansion of things that are gonna change. And I now need to be prepared for that change. And it's something I think so minor, but I think it's so powerful to see it because the more you do it, your kids get better at it too. Your kids will start recognizing that it's coming and actually count 5 minutes. Because I think when I was younger, sometimes maybe there was, because for them, it's not the 5 minutes. They have no clue of time. But you actually will begin modeling what that looks like. Not say, we have 5 minutes and then in 1 minute, we gotta go, right? that leads to trauma. No, I'm just kidding. No, but but there is this component that is so helpful. Um, Psalms 31. I will read it to you. If you have it, just put it in your notes. It began saying this really beautiful thing. The psalmist began recognizing God as a fortress, as a rock, all these amazing things. But then he goes into his fears, um, and his fears about his enemies coming and attacking this warrior, this psalmist. But then he talks about that he doesn't want to step in the wrong place, but instead of saying, help me step on the right place, the psalmist goes, expand my ground. Give me more space so I don't fall. If I'm in the cliff of the mountain, instead of saying, guide my next step in the right direction, the psalmist says, would you expand my ground? Would you give me more space? Would you give me the capacity to withstand this? And I'll read it to you. It's Psalm 31. It says, in you, Lord, I have taken refuge. Let me never be put to shame. Deliver me in your righteousness. Turn your ear to me. Come quickly to my rescue. Be my rock of refuge, a strong fortress to save me. Verse 3. Since you're my rock and my fortress, for the sake of your name, lead and guide me. Verse 4. Keep me free from the trap that is set for me, for you are, again, my refuge. And then he goes into the fears, and then I'll read to you the last piece of that fear, verse 8. You have not given me into the hands of my enemy, but have set my feet in a spacious place. God, help me recognize where I am, and would you give me a wider room or a capacity to stand? And this is something that I see through many characters of the entire story of the Bible. In even in Genesis chapter 2, um, the creation of humanity, when we read the story of Adam and Eve, is this idea that God really is serious about wanting a partnership with his creation. Meaning, he did not create Adam and Eve with all knowledge and all wisdom. They were so good at everything because he wanted a partnership. He wanted them to grow into their ownership. And that includes making mistakes, having friction. He doesn't want you and I to just be fully mature Christians. He wants for us to embrace those processes that are part of being human and help us grow in intimacy with him. And this is what we read in the entire story, one after another, growing or going through testing or being aware of ruptures that were happening, and God being the one repairing the relationship. Even in Genesis 3, when we think of the tree, sometimes we think about it as a test. And when you and I think of test, we think about, are we inadequate, or are we passing it? Are we failing the test? Where in reality, the idea in the scriptures is not even a test as a pass or fail, it's a refining language. It's not of good or bad only, it's a testing silver, polishing, gold, refining. It's this idea that is building a better, what I call it, product, but is building a better you. That this resilience is coming and is in the process of making of you and me something more beautiful. And as I want to give you, we're going to have experience where I want to give you space to meditate on this, what I'm sharing. So the last example I want to like share with you today is in the Gospel of John when we read the story of Thomas meeting Jesus in a resurrected body, right? And the story, goes that Jesus is about to appear to all. He's appeared to few, and Thomas is not believing, and he's gonna appear to Thomas. And what happens next, we know it as he's gonna set the disciples to go and preach him to all nations. And you and I think that what he's telling them to do is go and make other Christians. Like that's make like convince other people of my religion. But think about the story just as Thomas is experiencing. That when Jesus comes, he shows him his scars. And Jesus didn't, when he prayed of this huge test, he couldn't heal the scars, but they were important. His humanity was so important that the Father in Jesus himself says, I want you to see the rupture. He is modeling and he's gonna send them to be agents of repair. And literally his examples before he goes, go and teach them what I taught you is I'm modeling you the rupture and I'm a living example of the repair because he came back from the death, and I'm sending you now to be agents of repair. And he uses the sign of of the restoration is his hands. And what you and I can go and teach others is here are the places where I'm broken. I'm willing to do the hard work of repair. I'm willing to do the hard work of forgiveness. And I want to leave you with the same phrase that I started because you only know what is that moment of repair. What does that look like? To heal is to touch with love that which we previously touched with fear. So I want to play a song for you, and and I want you to think of the words, but I also want to give you a few questions to write down because I want us to move now this and from something that we heard to something we can live, something we can experience. And I want you to write this question somewhere where you've seen yourself grow because you did the hard work of repair. I want us to celebrate those moments. They're not small, they're huge, and they're part of our humanity. For some of us, even thinking about this, maybe it was a conversation that we recently have. Maybe it was an apology we gave to someone. Maybe there was a bridge we built or we're working on rebuilding. But then I want you to also maybe move into a different question. How has that healing shaped your resilience? And last, because again, we love questions here more than answers. Last, I want to leave you with this. I want you to think about someone in your life who's shown you what it looks like to repair well, who didn't run for the rupture from the rupture. And I don't mean like rupture, I mean like the friction, the the brokenness, but moved towards it with courage. And maybe if you think of someone, will you be willing to tell them? Maybe you write them a note, send them a text. Because this is how our community begins now connecting, even in our nervous system. What does it look like to be hard and inspire somebody to continue, not giving up, not pretend that it's not there, not even trying to move past it fast? Because I guarantee you, you may send a text and that person may even answer, that work is still in process. But it's inspiring to know that we're not just going to look for God as someone who can give us results. I love Jeanette's story in the opening because it's exactly what God invites us to. Would you widen our space, God? Would you widen our capacity? And that is my prayer right now. That is my personal prayer for my family. And that's also my prayer for you. So listen to the words of this song and journal. And that be it for today. I'll close with prayer. And then if you are courageous to share a little bit on the other side of the song, we'll do our after party.
You guys are ready. 1, 2, 3.
You are a house that's broken down. You are a house that's burning. And everything in me wants to run, but that's not love. If you fall, I fall with you. If you hurt, I feel it too. Even if my heart turns black and blue, I will love you. I planted seeds down in the ground. Not everyone is growing. When I am tempted to give up, I choose love. If you fall, I fall with you. If you hurt, I feel it too. Even if my heart turns black and blue, I will love you. Beauty and light will fight for you. Goodness will rise, it shines for you. black and blue. If you fall, I fall with you. If you hurt, I feel it too. Even if my heart turns black and blue, I will love you. I will love you.
I'm gonna put the questions here in a minute, Don. Uh, Father, some of us just need that reminder today. I know I do. Thank you for right now, even increasing my capacity to feel loved, to feel even seen by my group of friends and this community. And also, Lord, for feeling that we can go to you even when we don't feel like it, or our heart is broken, even when I don't show up the right way, Lord, under the testing or under the difficulty. Um, I pray, Father, that we may just know that you are here, and also, Father, that you are the giver of peace in the process. May us just enjoy that 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 place with you. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen. I'm gonna put again the questions here, and if you wanna stay, we're gonna go um into our after party. If you even wanna either spend some time in the after party responding to this, will create a space for that as well. And yeah, just thank you for being part of this experience today.